Well, howdy do, buckaroos. This is Joe Layton from Cowboys and Indians here. And it is my great pleasure today to be talking with Mo Brings Plenty, actor, activist, rancher, model, and all-around good guy. Mo, I understand you had a bit of a bit of an adventure this afternoon on your ranch. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I was feeding cows, and I noticed that I got a crippled cow. Now I was kind of keeping out for her, and I noticed she was missing. And so I went to looking for her, and I found her. She was stuck pretty good in a pond. I don't know how the heck she made it. It's just probably from struggling and just in the direction she was facing. She got deeper and deeper out, and she managed to keep her head above water. I have no idea what time or when she went out there. And so it was a hustle up and get what is needed to try to get her pulled out, and hoping that, we made it in time. She seemed okay, but time would tell. And so once I'm done later on this evening, I'll go back out and check on her.
Well, I've been in this racket for a while, and I've had to delay interviews for any number of reasons. But I have to say, this is the very first time I got a call. Could you wait about an hour and a half? Because the person you're going to talk to is getting a calf out of a mud hole. And I said, so this is a first for me. And some people play cowboys, and some people are cowboys. So now, how long have you had the ranch? It's in Florida, right?
No, it's in Kansas.
Oh, okay, okay. You used to have
the state line runs. It's part of it's in Kansas, and the other part of it's in Missouri.
Oh,
okay. Or Missouri. Sorry, a lot of locals. Hey. I'm kind of in the same boat, in the same area with them, and so it just splits right down the middle of it, and it's called the Sterling Ranch. And so I manage it in between acting, and this is what I do in my off time, and it keeps me grounded, helps me stay in touch with where I come from and what I've been taught and what I know in life.
I've heard it said that hard work can be very relaxing, and I myself would prefer to relax than do hard work. But do you find this to be the case?
I do. I really do. It's calming, and again, it's kind of my place of serenity. When you have cattle bellowing, horses doing their thing, I mean, it's peace. It's heaven on earth for me, and it is time consuming.
Well, you're out there, fixing the barbed wire. I guess it's a long way from Hollywood, huh?
Yeah, and I just did that yesterday.
Oh my goodness! See, my father was an Irish immigrant, God rest his soul, and I think he came over here so I wouldn't ever have to, because the Irish cliche, the farm gave out, and so I would never have to go out there and do things like that. So tip my hat to you. Tip my hat to you.
Thank you.
Now, you've got 4 seasons of Yellowstone behind you, and now they're all available on the Peacock network. And it seems to me that, particularly near the end of this 4th season, we're getting hints that as much as we've seen Mo before, we're going to see more of him. We're going to see Mo of him in the future, particularly, after he helped Casey on his spirit vision quest. I know that Taylor Sheridan has vow of secrecy, but am I right? Are we going to be seeing, or do you know yet? Have you seen any scripts for season 5?
No, I haven't. I mean, I'm with you. I'm hoping that that's the case, but I wouldn't know until I actually get to Montana. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I'm pretty excited. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm waiting. My anticipation's like getting higher and higher. Is like, but then I'm like, well, this is why I do ranch work. So the anticipation level will drop back down, and it's just it is what it is. And so, but I hope that we continue to build with that particular character because I'm starting to like the guy a little bit.
Well, he seems to be like this ticking time bomb, off to the side. And I can remember one of the later episodes this past season, fourth season. Sooner or later, this guy's going to kick somebody's ass. I mean, he's done a little bit of that before, but I mean, he's going to give somebody a major beat down. And I'm not going to ask you though, because I know, like I say, Taylor, has everybody sign a blood oath. But I'm curious now. When you went in to first talk with Sharon about the role, did you go in and introduce yourself? And it was like, hey, what a coincidence! We got this guy named Mo. You've got the job. We don't have to look for anybody else.
And actually, my original character was Rainwater's driver.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there was a scene between Rainwater and Mo, and see, Gil Birmingham and I, our brotherhood it continues to grow, and I have a lot of love and respect for that guy, and so during this particular scene, we were doing it, and he said my name, and it happened to be our best take. It was the most natural, and our chemistry is not just legit on screen, but it's legit off screen too. I mean, we stay in, like I said, we're like brothers, and we keep in contact and always talk to each other and make each other laugh. And so he's always asking me what's new on the ranch today, and so we have a great rapport and we have a great relationship as brothers, bottom line. And so it changed from Rainwater's driver to then Mo, and so here we are now with Mo.
A star was born.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you were noticed by someone in public as Mo from Yellowstone?
Yeah, I sure do. It was I went to Walmart, and I was looking for just a little cheap tool. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on this tool, and I was looking for a little cheap tool.
And a man after my own heart. There you go.
Yeah. So there was this gal, she was pushing her cart and kept following me. And then I'd go down another aisle and she would be watching and she kept looking at me. And finally she had the courage to come up and she said, "Have you ever seen the show Yellowstone?" And I said, I think so. And she goes, "You look just like the guy on Yellowstone. His name is Mo." And so it was like, okay, all right. And so it was pretty neat. I never really had that happen before. I mean, people would look because of the braids. It's always the biggest thing before. And now, because of the braids and Yellowstone, I get recognized even more. And so people know, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're Mo, you're that guy." And so it's pretty, for a kid who grew up on a reservation, it's exciting. And I'm just thankful for all of the fans of Yellowstone and for the folks that love Yellowstone.
Now, you grew up on the Pine Ridge Reservation, correct, in South Dakota?
Yeah, my father's from Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. I was born there. I spent a great number of years there, but my mother's from the Cheyenne River Reservation, which is also another band of the Lakota. It's in Eagle Beach, South Dakota, the more kind of central part of the state. And so I spent time there as well with my grandmother and I spent a little bit of time on the Rosebud Reservation too. So I always say I come from the Lakota Lakota Nation because I have relatives on all them reservations, and I spend quite a bit of time on each and every one of them.
What do you associate with, South Dakota? Where are the places? What are some of the sites or the locations you like to go to wherever you go back there?
The Badlands. The Badlands it's like heaven on earth. It honestly is. It's the most intriguing spot because it changes. It changes. There's a difference not only in the scenery of the Badlands themselves. They change colors. They change from morning to evening, and so it is the change is also in the air. And I often think about the past whenever I'm there, but it brings so much peace, to me. And I just love that area. The Badlands it's an amazing place. I mean, I love the Black Hills, don't get me wrong. I love the Black Hills, but the Badlands, that's heaven on earth.
Well, now, if I were going around the Pine Ridge Reservation, what's a good place for me to eat?
A good place for you to eat, boy. I was gonna say my folks' place, but
I don't know if they'd appreciate, this pale face showing up out of the blue. Hey, your son said, I could come by for a meal. And
I tell you what, my household growing up as a kid, it was like Grand Central Station. People would show up just out of the blue, and strangers would show up, and that's one thing I love about Indian country. Is when you show up, people are always welcoming. And if you come into their home, they're gonna prepare a meal for you while they're talking to you. And they're gonna offer you something to eat. That's one thing that the people always make sure that you'll never leave their home with an empty stomach. And so anywhere on the res, the people are always welcoming, they're loving, our traditions are still here.
Hollywood has a long tradition of getting just about, every group wrong. Every Irishman is drunk all the time and fighting, and their mom says that their sons don't have to work and they're involved with the IRS. Of course, in the case of my family, that's an accurate representation. But you were growing up at a time when you would turn on TV or go to the movies, and not only were there not that many positive images of Native Americans, many of the times they weren't even played by Native Americans.
Right.
I was telling your associate, I had to do some research on Elvis Presley movies a while back. And there was a movie with, Burgess Meredith playing this drunken Indian. And I thought, oh man, I'm not Native American and this is offending me. Can you remember the first time you saw in want of a better term, a positive representation of Indigenous life, either in TV or movies?
Yep, Dances of the Wolves. That was the very first for me. And so that was, and it came at a very appropriate time in my life as well, because in growing up on a reservation, you struggle between, an ever-changing society and your true cultural identity. And so the struggle was very legit and very real. And so because you look at your identity and how people perceived who we are, it was always we come from a impoverished area, we're alcoholics, so on and so forth, like you said, and I didn't come from any of that. I came from a very wealthy cultural family and families. I mean, our people were rich in our culture, our language is still here. There's so much of the past that is still here. And so for me, I didn't know we were poor. My mom and dad always made sure that we had a roof over our heads and we had warmth in the wintertime. We had food on the table. My brother and I got up every day and we did chores, and we didn't get a weekly allowance. Our chores were part of
Mhm.
our living. We had to do it. And I remember one summer, it was towards the end of July, and we normally wouldn't start cutting wood till about the end of August. And we didn't have gas, chainsaws yet. We had the old bow hand saws and the axe and so on and so forth. And so my dad had us out there collecting wood at the end of July, and I finally got the courage to ask him. I said, it's hot. It's really hot and it's July. Why are we getting wood now? And he said, well, do you know when winter's gonna hit? I said, no. He goes, well, neither do I. So we just gotta prepare. And so we always had a good warm house, you know. And so my father, he really instilled that to live is to move. To move is to live. And prepare. Always be prepared. Nature prepares, everything always prepares. So we were always part of that preparation process. And so I'm thankful for that. My father always told me, there's no such thing as a free meal. And the best way for you to glorify the higher power, God, whatever, Allah, whatever name we have for the great creator of all creation, is for you to truly glorify the higher power, you must move. That's how you express your gratitude for your health, and so he taught me that. And he was a hard man. He was hard. It was like working for a sergeant, but I'm thankful.
Now, another thing, I've talked with indigenous people who've said that not as often as it used to be. I mean, now it's a little bit better, but at various times in their life, they'd run into people who thought, in one of a better term, Native Americans were extinct, like they were no more. I don't know if they thought John Wayne shot them all or whatever. And they were genuinely surprised that there were still Native people out there. Did you run into that when you were younger?
Oh yeah, I ran into that a lot, and I still do. Especially in bigger cities in Europe. That for people that don't watch our shows or don't go to film, I remember we were in Geneva, Switzerland, and we was getting ready to walk into this coffee shop. And this big window there's this elderly individual. He was watching us walk up. And he got up and he come running to the door, and we stopped like, what's going on? Something going on inside there. And he was just standing there holding the door, and he started shedding tears. And he never thought in his entire life that he would ever have the opportunity to see an American Indian in person. And so, yeah, New York City, I've run into that. I went to a school in Pennsylvania, and it was a private school, and it was all fifth graders. And one of the students there could not believe, he said, "You're not a real Indian. You can't be, because they all got killed, years ago."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm real. He was blown away that we still exist.
Goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, now, how did you get in to show business? How did you get into movies and television?
I got in, well, in speaking to a lot of our young people on the reservation, I kept asking them, why aren't you proud of your cultural identity or your identity, period? And the biggest thing, the number one answer that kept coming back was, well, we don't see ourselves on TV. And which made me think, it makes perfect sense, because I was a young individual as well who struggled with that. And when you don't see a positive influence or a role model or even ourselves in mainstream America, then why even bother? Because it's a good indication that you're not accepted. Your existence is still not accepted. And so I got that was kind of my my drive, so to say. And Chief Leonard Crow Dog was an inspiration to that, as well as a non-native individual by the name of Jim Hatzel. Them two guys were probably the two largest catalysts or individuals to push me forward and say, no, go, do this, and you'll have. And Chief Leonard Crow Dog said, you'll have a platform that would help our voice even more. And so I didn't know how to do it. And so I moved to Omaha, Nebraska and got involved in community theater, because that's where I learned Marlo Brando and Henry Fonda. Some of the greats got started there. And so I'm like, well, okay, that's where I'm going to go. And I didn't know anyone, so I moved to Omaha, Nebraska, and went into as my first big city for me. And so start working in theater, and then got into doing some docudramas for the History Channel.
Played a rather significant historical figure.
Yeah. I've been honored I got the privilege to portray Crazy Horse a few times. Now I'm in the Sitting Bull category, so I've been fortunate enough to portray someone that through my mother's side we're related to. And so I just wanted to bring a different vibe, a different understanding of where we come from, and let society know that we still exist.
Now, you've also worked as a model, and I just want to know, did you get to keep any Harley Davidsons? I mean, did they give you?
I did get to keep some Harley Davidson stuff. I got to keep some Ed Hardy stuff. In fact, I saved a pair of jeans and a shirt. I got rid of everything else, but
Wait, did they give you a motorcycle?
No, I didn't get to keep.
Oh, come on!
And so, yeah, no, I just come back to what I know, and that was just being me and doing cowboy stuff.
But you've also had a musical career as well, right?
Oh, yes, sir. I sure did. I was a percussionist for a native contemporary group called Brule. And I've traveled. Oh my gosh, we did a lot of traveling. There was over 100 performances a year. And we traveled throughout the Dakotas, Minnesota, and down into the Southwest. It was year round. So I did that for a number of years. And then the acting stuff kind of started. It was tough because then I couldn't leave when we were performing so much to do the acting stuff. And so I talked to Paul, who was who made the group, or put the band together, and he was totally understanding. And so I went off and pursued an acting career again. Got back into. I love music. Don't get me wrong. I love music, but if I can't put my 100% into it, I just don't want to, because I feel like if you can't do that, then the audience isn't going to get to experience that as well.
So there's maybe a chance that sometime in season 5, Mo will break out into song, or
yeah, actually,
you pull out a guitar and
yeah, no, I'll leave that up to Walker because he's amazing. And I did break out in song in season 4.
That's right.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Mo brings plenty, sings songs of love from and you can get it on CD or digital, right?
Oh, I don't know about that, because I don't even know what love is quite yet. So yeah.
When did you think, or was there a play, a movie, a TV show, whatever, where it dawned, I could make a living at this?
Um, I really, honestly, for me, it is Yellowstone. I've had opportunities before, and I'm thankful for each and every one of them, but it wasn't about making a living at it. It was about, again, sharing who we really are still today in today's time. And so now it's like, oh, I could make a business out of this. And so here we are.
Well, I mean, Mo brings plenty's baked beans. You can get to like that. See, I'm giving you these ideas, Mo. Just, you know. Now,
Yeah.
you've also been involved, I understand, with a program to rehabilitate horses.
Yeah. We was, and not just horses, but also to revitalize the horse culture within some of the tribes and the bands that came from a horse culture that no longer has that opportunity. Let's take the Comanche, for example. At one time, the Comanche people had a very strong horse culture. And so I worked with some of the good friends of mine down there to bring back that aspect of it. And I just supported them. I mean, they knew exactly what they wanted to do and how it needed to be done. So I was a part of them. We took horses to them to get everything started. And then, of course, as soon as we got things rocking and rolling, the pandemic hit. And so it really shut us down, just for the safety of the elders and stuff in their communities. We had to look out for that because of their knowledge and their understandings is very important, and we need them around for a long time.
Well, now, do you continue to talk with young men, young women about, who are curious about pursuing a career in acting and directing and dancing? I would imagine you have more role models to point to now than you did, even just a few years ago.
Yeah, we do. We have quite a few more role models. And when young people ask me, they say, well, what got you there? Honestly, I always say horses saved my life. And horses took me around the world. And horses got me where I am today, even on Yellowstone. And they taught me everything that I come to understand and gained the confidence, on how to communicate. Horses are a great teacher, and they helped me a lot in my life.
Well, Mo, you've been very generous with your time. I appreciate it. And now I'm actually going to try to pronounce your Lakota name. Your wife was very kind to try to coach me here. And if I get this wrong, I really don't want to offend the entire Lakota nation. I'm just, Tashoka Waumtapu.
That is dang good. That's dang good. That's real close. And honestly, go for it, Joe.
No, say, now tell the folks the real way to pronounce it.
Well, how males say is Tashun Kumus Pampu. And the women say Tashun Kumus Pampi. And so there's a feminine and a masculine, way of speaking our language in all American Indian language, native languages. And it means he catches his horse. And the horse symbolizes the spirit, the spiritual realm for us. And so that's what my name means.
I wasn't even in the right zip code, was I? I mean,
no, you.
Sorry.
You was in the same ballpark.
Okay. You're very polite. You're very polite. Well, is there anything you'd like to say to young Indigenous people or young people right now about who are, interested? I mean, it may come from not necessarily an impoverished background, but not a wealthy background. and, maybe not have it in their mind to be a superstar, but would like to tell their stories, whether it be, Indigenous people, whether it be Black people, whether it be Hispanic people. What encouraging words would you give them?
My encouraging words to everyone, it don't matter where you come from. It don't matter what class that society will have you in. We're all human beings at the end of the day. But the most important part and what helped me through my life is self-belief, and I maintain that self-belief with humility and compassion for all other people, other ways, other cultures, other religions. I mean, we're not the judges of one another. We're here to look out for each other and to help each other out. And so I want our young people to know it don't matter where you come from. No one is going to change your life except for you. And any small opportunity that comes along, you take that opportunity and you handle it with respect, with honor, compassion, and you give it your 100%. And when you do that, then there's going to be another opportunity. Each of these opportunities are steps. That's how I got where I am today. And whenever you meet people, you create a friendship. You don't create an alliance with an individual with the hopes that they're going to take you to your next level. No one can do that but yourself. I look at Taylor Sheridan. I consider him a brother, and I have a lot of love and respect for him and his family. And I'm thankful for the opportunity that he gave me. He said, here you go, here's an opportunity. And so now it's up to me to handle it as professional and as humbly as I possibly can, and never forget where you come from. Never forget where you come from.
Well, like I say, I have up here on the bulletin board over my desk a rusted horseshoe from the farm in Ireland, and I look up at that sometimes and, hey, first generation American, I get paid to not only go to movies and TV shows, but to get to talk with people like Mo Briggs Plenty. Is this the land of opportunity or what? Well, thank you once again, and be safe and stay well. And I hope your calf is feeling better.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate your time as well. And it's been a great honor.